We're getting really close to finishing your NEA now, and we've gone through all these sections, and we've got the last section to write and then the final checks to do. The last section that you're going to write will be marked in with the conclusion. The two come together in the mark scheme. It's called the evaluation. And with an evaluation, you go through your project and you look at each of your methods and you say whether or not those methods was accurate. Now, it isn't just about the methods themselves. It's about how the methods impact on the results. If your methods are wrong, your results are wrong. And it's really important to recognise that in this evaluation section. So if you found that a method is not that accurate, and this is an A-level project, so they're not going to be perfect, and that's absolutely fine. What you then need to say is, if my method wasn't right there, this is the impact that that might have had on my data and therefore my conclusions. And there are two other bits you can see there to do with the evaluation. One of them is the wider context. Now, the wider context basically means, who cares? Who cares about your project? If nobody cares about your project, you shouldn't have done it. It's not important. Your project must be important to somebody. Maybe it'd be important to local councils. Maybe it'd be important to local schools or tourism boards. Somebody is going to be interested in your data. That doesn't mean somebody's going to look your data up. It's a school project. They won't even know it exists. But if you were to send your data to somebody, who would be interested in that data? There must be somebody. Otherwise, there's really no point in you having done the project. Now, I would recommend doing the wider context as a separate section because it's in the mark scheme. So you want the examiner to not miss it. You want them to see that it's there. And the final bit of the evaluation is you need to revisit ethical dimensions. Now, remember, when we were talking about ethical dimensions in one of the earlier clips, we said it's really how people and the environment are affected by whatever your project is about. Now, I'm not asking you to repeat your ethical dimensions from before. What I want here is the ethical dimensions of your results. So if your results have found that second home ownership in a particular coastal village is incredibly high, how is that going to impact people? Well, it's going to impact local people quite drastically, I'd have thought, because house prices will increase. Similarly, if yours has been about the quality of the environment somewhere, and you found that the quality in the environment is particularly poor, well, there's ethical dimensions to that. Who is destroying that environment and how can we put that right? So the evaluation, quite a short section, marked alongside the conclusion, probably not dissimilar in length. Looking at page and a half, talk about each of your methods, suggest whether or not that requires improvements and whether or not it affected your findings and your conclusions. Give the wider context as a separate section, and give some ethical dimensions as a final section too. I will see you next time to look at some final checks, and your NEA will be ready to hand in.